illustrate what it could look like. This is not indicative of the
For
final gameplay.
people who are unfamiliar with game development, do you want to give a quick description on what gray block means?
Okay. Gray blocking is purely how a level designer wants to create the space to illustrate how gameplay would take place. So if we give myself an AR real quick, reload. So if you want to figure out, hey, how do I want this space to play? Do I want to be able to come down and shoot at somebody else coming down the other stairwell, and then maybe double back up and around like that? That's what a lot of these simple shapes, before they get fully arted, you do some simple gray blocking, which is why, looks gray. And it's blocky.
Yeah.
Hey, gray blocking.
You're basically creating gameplay space before art has to do the work of making it look really nice. If you waited for art to do the work every time you wanted to create gameplay, it would take a lot of time to do iterations, and it would just be, are you going to do it?
No, game over, man.
So those gray blocked houses are the ones that have already been touched up.
Already been touched up. You can go through the doorways. You can jump out the windows now.
Yeah.
They're all in the same spots as the old Z1. We really wanted to make sure that we didn't compromise the footprint of Z1, because so it still looks like Z1.
Yeah.
Right. So a Z1 gamer who isn't really noticing all the little minor things that we're doing gameplay-wise can still play the game if they haven't played in a year or even 2 years. They can come in here and it'll still feel like the exact same map, but they'll be able to tell that something it feels a little more fluid. You'll be able to fight a little easier.
Yeah.
So go into the hallways of the
Alrighty.
the apartment building.
Drop to your death.
You're good. So you can see before, every time you went through a doorway, the camera would jerk down, and now it feels like a little easier to kind of walk away and run through here. And it's just a lot more fluid to be able to run around the apartments.
It's not nearly as claustrophobic.
It's not nearly as claustrophobic.
Yeah, your camera can swing around behind you now.
Can you go to the other ones too that are north, east? Or north? Yeah.
Just Superman real quick and fly over there. Yay.
No, the up more.
Oh, these ones.
Yeah, go to those ones.
Yeah.
So go to the taller apartments. There we go. Yeah. And so if you're pretend you're coming in parachute.
Oh, okay.
So go way high up. So you're coming down here and you're flying in parachute and you're gonna land at the top of the apartments. So you could loot up the top here, and making your way down these apartments before was such a tedious task of opening so many doors and getting your camera. Look at how much more space you have now to run around and run down these floors. And then you can kind of run into the apartments. It's just everything feels kind of like it's supposed to. He was able to easily break the window and jump through it. Look across the street from there.
Yeah.
You can pick a bike. Now you'll have a gun and you'll be able to shoot across.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the improvements that we're making to the gameplay. You guys are going to notice immediately. And it's going to feel like Z1 because everything's in the same spots, but everything's just going to feel so much more fun to fight in. And that's kind of the magic of the remaster. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't a remaster, it would just be a Battle Royale game on a survival map, and it would still have all of the old problems with that come along with it. You can go back to the garage now.
All right.
And just to touch some of these questions, not entirely indicative of Z1 right now, but we are trying to push out a new test update.
You can
a new test update. Hopefully tonight. It's looking more like tomorrow or possibly Friday, but it's going to fix that that camera stutter with the recoil that I know a lot of you guys have been reporting, and a few other improvements. We've been working with our focus group and other people on some recoil improvements on the test server. If you guys haven't checked out test server and all the weapon changes there, please do. But like I said, we've got an update hopefully tonight, but more likely tomorrow or Friday. And make sure you follow H1Z1 on Twitter and go on our Reddit and things like that for when we post full patch notes.
Bow to win a skin, I hope.
Bow to win a skin, I hope.
Bow to win a skin, I hope. So basically, it's, Troy obviously is not a racer gamer here. He's not going at full speeds because he's,
preserving.
But basically, you can if you are a very good driver, you're very competitive team. You guys are trying to drive around Z1 pretty fast. You'll be able to drive around it faster now without having to worry about getting caught up on so many things around the world.
So initially, hearkening back to what you said earlier about that wall that was preventing you from going into the other garage, if you're coming in from the north and
You have an option now. Boom.
Damn car physics.
Uh-huh.
So you could either stay up top, loot that up, come down, you start taking fire from the other building, maybe pop out.
Get stuck in the gray block.
Yeah.
So now when the art team does come in here and start laying down props and things like that, they're still going to preserve the more fluid open layout that the gray blocking has accomplished.
Yeah,
correct.
It's not they're going to apply textures to it, and it's going to look like Z1. It's just it's easy to see because it's all gray the differences, but when all of the textures are applied and it still looks like Z1, it'll still feel like like the old map, just a little bit better.
I really want to make that window.
Oh,
no bueno.
Troy's been actually doing a lot of work on Pleasant Valley. You want to do a little tour, maybe?
Yeah, we can do a little tour. This is the U shops that you've probably recognized from the air.
This area will look really nice once it all gets textured up. I remember an old Z1, that U area was kind of rough on the texture side. It definitely was very early access. But nobody's fault. It's
the
just
courtyard.
we were building it so fast.
With the clock tower.
But all this stuff will start to look really nice now, and Z1 will get its proper beautification.
Yeah, you'll notice the footprint stays majority the same.
Yeah.
Show AK
Yeah,
Alley.
go down to the right to AK Alley. I know how this is going to work. It's going to be like show AK Alley, and this will be like show Bumjik. It's going to be like show military.
Right now it's show warehouses.
Go down to the left. Yeah. So yeah, it's still the same that you guys always remember. So you guys don't have to worry about us deleting things or changing things too much. We're really just
or
trying
adding POIs.
Yeah, well, we're just really trying to optimize the areas that you guys are so used to playing in and having fun in. Yeah, go to the residential area.
Yeah. Swing over there real quick.
So with optimizing the footprint and the layouts of certain buildings, are we doing? I'm asking a leading question. I actually know the answer to this. Are we changing up the?
Oh, I was just coming from nowhere.
The ground.
The terrain.
Yes, the terrain as well.
So the terrain is being touched up in terms of it's getting all of the really edgy spikes. Like there's stretched terrain, there's spiky terrain, there's holes in the terrain, there's basically bugs. And what we're doing right now is going through the process of smoothing a lot of it out. We're not deleting major hills. We're not taking chunks out of big pieces of the terrain that you like. Your favorite, little wedge that you used to hide behind, most likely will still be a little wedge that you can hide behind. So we're really just doing a smoothing of the terrain. The one piece that we are changing, that's a big change, actually two things. There's two pieces of the terrain that we're changing kind of a lot. One of them is the gorge, because it was impossible to get out of the gorge. So we are going to work on that. It's not
I
in this,
died so many times in there.
It's not in this. It's not in this build. But the level designers are going to kind of change up the little gorge area that you would get stuck in, and we're also going to take the H1Z1 Peak radio tower and make it a bigger area play space. So before you would land at the radio tower, and it was literally a shack and a fenced radio tower.
Right.
With nothing. You found a pistol. It was awful. So we're going to take that space and kind of make it a little bigger to make it an actual good place to land. Other than that, it's a lot of really smoothing out and fixing it. H1Z1 Peak, it is a tall mountain that's hard to get up. I'm sure we'll have spaces that'll be easier to kind of climb it instead of like trying to climb halfway up and then sliding all the way back down. I remember it's like burned into my brain. Dr. Disrespect jumping up mountains and then sliding down H1Z1 Peak, and the whole time he's sliding down H1Z1 Peak, he's like, "These level designers, they just need to figure out what they're doing." And I'm just like, "Oh God, this terrain." So we're fixing up the terrain. Yes, to answer your question.
Okay, perfect.
So just to iterate here, this is not final art. the way that it looks in a gray block is always usually very rough compared to how it looks when it's finished. So we can move stairs, we can make things thinner, we can change the way the ramps look. So just understand this is just so we can get in here and play it and see what it feels like.
Yeah, and to reiterate on that as well, we will make sure that you guys will have a chance to try out the map before we push it all the way live. We'll have it on the test server at some point.
Whoa, Greg dropping bombs.
What? We have a test server,
Do
but
we?
huh?
I don't. Nobody has asked me to put it on test server yet.
No one's ever asked
No,
you.
it's
to put it on?
weird. Like
Oh.
not one person.
Oh.
So yes, like
Greg
what,
is that one person.
So what Greg mentioned is there will be, obviously, you guys will get to play this on test server when we're able to layer, a little more of the actual game on top of it. Right now, it's literally a Monopoly board. You can have a Monopoly board and make a new one, but if you don't have any of the pieces that make the game work, it's not a game.
Right.
So this is just a map with no gas, no spawning, no parachutes, no loot, no car spawns, like. All the stuff that makes it a game is not attached to this yet,
Yeah.
and we're not sure if we're ready to have the public play these gameplay changes because a lot of it is us trying things out.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know when we will let the players play it on test, but it will be put on test eventually.
Yeah. So as of right now, we don't have an exact ETA on when you guys will be able to get your hands on it, but when we do, we'll make sure we share that with you.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a stubborn thing where we just don't want to give it to you. It's literally just like we need to finish the actual layers of the game on top of it, and we need to make sure it's ready because we understand that this is a really big piece of content that the players are really excited about. And when it goes to test server, we want it to be, a big impact.
Yeah.
Sure.
We know how important Z1 is to you guys, and it's equally important, as if not more important to
Super
us,
important to us.
that we make sure that you guys have an actual good experience on it before we put it in your hands.
For sure. Yeah, and it's there's a lot of memories and passion and good times. I was just looking at H1Z1 YouTube videos, and all these old Z1 videos, and there's so many good memories that people have of playing Z1. The worst thing that we could do is compromise that by changing too much, and so hopefully, I hope you guys look at what we had with just Troy flying around, and you guys saw that it still really looks and feels like Z1.
Yeah.
That was a big goal for us, for sure.
Absolutely. It's the remaster of Z1
And
Remastered.
now we're just remastering everything. Hey, we should call it Z1 Remaster.
We might as well. Are there any other spaces we want to check out?
Nope, I think that's good. I think I gave him enough.
We could always do this again.
We could do this again. I don't know. We are going through Troy's spaces because this is the stuff that Troy has finished and has been willing to show on stream. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to show other people's work on stream if they weren't ready for it and didn't
Totally.
want to do it.
Yeah.
So
We're going to have more streams in the future, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. We'll take a few questions from chat. We're not going to be talking about weapon models or recoil and things like that. This is
not a combat stream.
This is not a combat stream.
That's Cardo.
Yeah, that's Cardo and
Go
Brondad.
Go bug Brondad and Cardo.
So if you guys have questions in here that we have not already answered, we'll take a look in chat, and Troy can keep running around showcasing some of the
Going
some
to
of the
Romero's.
improvements from here.
Romero's?
Yeah.
All right, you got it.
Also, for everyone who's spamming old models, old combat, whatever you guys are saying in here, the combat guys over the last couple weeks, over the last little bit longer even, but the last couple weeks for sure have been staying late every night, tuning and testing new combat changes that they are getting super happy with. I sit right next to those guys, and they're having a lot of fun tuning and testing and getting feedback, and I'm really excited about what they're going to do. So
yeah, and they're getting feedback, from a very diverse group of players. It's not just the pro scene. They've got hyper engaged players as well. They've got
old players, new players.
Yeah, old players, new players. Very diverse group that are they really do seem like
also, they're not too
settling
shabby
in.
themselves.
No, of course, yeah. We didn't ask them. We didn't just be like, "Oh, you just bought the game. Come join us." And tell us what you think.
That's a common mantra that I like to repeat is that you guys are very good at listening to and involving the community in these tests. At the end of the day, you guys are combat game designers, and you are pretty good at it. So kind of listen to the feedback, take it in. If it's really overwhelming, you can kind of discuss it. But at the end of the day, you guys are pretty good at what you do. You got to believe in yourself and see it through.
So a big question that's popping up: Box of Destiny.
Box of Destiny. So right now we are in a state of what is the right move for it, because there's two kinds of ways to look at the Box of Destiny. There's putting people in the old Box of Destiny, and then there's possibly, and I don't know how final this is or if this could change, so please don't take it as like the truth, but it would be kind of interesting to see if before the game starts it's just combat practice, and then the game starts and you start the game.
That was pretty close.
So depending
the first story.
Depending on how we can explore that and the feedback from that, it would be kind of interesting to have the lobby just be combat practice and then you just fly in. If that's not
and
feasible,
maybe Easter egg the Box of Destiny in there somewhere.
yeah,
or something
I mean,
like that?
so no matter what, Box of Destiny is going to be in Z1, so you can fly in, go to it, and go see it, and it'll still be there.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, you'll be able to see the old Box of Destiny. It's just right now, I think what we're exploring with is it better to just let people do combat practice and play and shoot and warm up before a game starts, or should they just sit in another lobby in an old Box of Destiny? So it's a tough question to ask, to be honest. I don't know the answer. I mean, I have thoughts on it, but we don't really know what we want to do. But guaranteed, old Box of Destiny will be there, so you can go
Confirmed.
You can go look at it.
Confirmed.
Greg, what? Don't do that.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
That's all we do on this stream is we just confirm.
Bow to
things.
win a skin, I hope.
Bow to win a skin, I hope.
Bow to win
Are we
a
giving
skin,
away
I
a skin?
hope.
We are not.
Dude, I'm bow to win a skin, I hope.
You hope.
You hope?
Tune in. So no community outbreak this week. We'll be back next week for community outbreak, and you can bow to win a skin. You hope
On the next community outbreak.
on the next community outbreak.
Okay, I better see everyone spamming that in the chat next community outbreak.
Bow to
'Cause
win a skin, I hope.
it's so pure.
It's a
it's
good
just
one.
like go into any dev stream and before it starts, just go bow to win a skin, I hope. Bow to win a skin. It was the double. It was the fact that
Yeah.
it was put twice is what
bow
really.
to win a skin. I hope.
All right.
All about it.
Good job, Troy. I think
Yeah,
you did really
things are
good
looking
for your
good.
first live stream. You're natural, and your work is
Sure.
amazing. And
Where do you go
a
from
lot
here?
of people are going to have a lot of fun in PV.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to start layering in more of the residential area. I kind of want to not fill in, but some of these areas, one of the things we did on Z2 that was actually well received for the most part were the rocks. Everybody
the new
loves
rocks.
rocks. The new rocks, like
Yeah.
as covers. So like this is a good example from the Z1 map of a big open area where if you were running across this or driving across this, somebody on the rooftop could just open up and
Yeah.
you had no options for counterplay at all.
Also, let me reiterate: the rocks are going to still be Z1 rocks.
Ice cream scoop rocks.
They're going to be the Z1 rocks that you remember in Z1. I think the sizes just might be a little more game playable. Some of the rocks in Z1 are just like useless. You can't even hide behind them. They just don't really do anything. So, not sure how much we'll use Z2 rocks on Z1, if we will, but not. But right now we're
Matt Damon.
kind of looking at. We're still looking at the Z1 rocks that were there. But
For everybody, spamming old weapon models, old movement. We don't have much to say about that today. I was
don't have
talking.
anything to say about that.
I was talking with Tony right before I came down. They are working on some animations to bring it to not take care of ENAS, but ENAS is an issue that we want to address, and so they are working on those things right now. But that's not something we're showing off today in our Z1 live stream.
Yeah, and honestly, the only difference between a Z2 rock and a Z1 rock is just the way it looks. You can scale a rock in the game and make it bigger or smaller, and just make it the same size. So if you guys like the Z2 rocks because of their size, it'll feel the same way. It has the Z1 rock texture because we want it to feel like Z1.
Same look, better gameplay.
Same look, remastered.
Yeah.
I saw a question. I don't know if you want me to.
Oh, go
say.
ahead.
Yeah.
One of the questions I saw was, are we sticking with the old textures or new ones?
So all of those gray, all that gray that you see is going to be a new texture that gets applied to it. That that fence, even though it's an old texture, it could still possibly get a new texture. But if you're worried about the colors and the feel of how it's going to look, we are definitely going with the Z1 style, sort of like post-apocalyptic, survivalists, kind of like it feels like something happened here and it's kind of dilapidated. So we're not going to make everything all bright and new and shiny. So you guys don't have to worry about that. It's just going to be like remastered. You know, it's going to look better. It's gonna look like a finished, non-alpha, non-early access texture. So that's part of the reason we're doing this remaster, so we can make it look better for you guys.
Old loot system.
Old loot system. What does that even mean? They want us to revert.
And
to
also old car spawns. Like, are the car spawns and loot spawns going to be in the same spot, or?
Well, the old loot spawn was broken.
Sarah Flanagan, by the way, everybody.
So
the voice of God.
So I can tell you this for sure: we're not going to make it where no medkits spawn, and then halfway through the game, then the medkits spawn because the loot system was broken. We are going to have the loot system that works now, and we're going to have it be layered on top of Z1. Now, what we want to do is still have fun little areas that are kind of like Easter eggs. So we'll still have AK Alley and have AKs spawn, you know, more around AK Alley, so it's still there, but the rest of the map should function like Z2 functions in terms of the loot system. It should just, you know, it's a very, Cardo or Tony Morton spent a lot of good work with other programmers to like make that system work really well, and so that's what we want to use for Z1. In terms of vehicle spawns, currently we haven't touched them. All the vehicle spawns are in the same spot. If anything, I could see us adding a few more because we will be adding a little more loot spots. Also in the north, we're probably going to add, you know, like gas stations and stuff along the road where there's nothing. So I'm sure there'll be some more loot, vehicle spawns, but I don't think we need to touch the current ones. Thanks, Sarah.
I know you tweeted it out earlier. Do we want to show death cabins, or is that not on a good spot on this build?
It's not finished yet.
Okay.
I mean, you can fly over there. Might as well. End with the death cabins. Why not?
Yeah, we'll end the stream with the death cabins. There she blows.
What's
can
that? You spawned
you're
in?
so far away.
You spawned in, and you're parachuting, and you're like, oh, I want to go to the death cabins.
Like God spawn.
Man, this was definitely one of my favorite places to land, but always one of the most treacherous.
Well, I like landing across the bridge because if you could win the fight at the warehouses across the bridge,
and there's a car spawn over there too.
Yeah, you would get the police car, then drive down here and clean up this area, unless somebody killed you. But
There's a request in the chat for Troy to put on the bomber hat.
he's like, what? Oh, look at this, guys, you guys, it's too.
You did it, chat.
Be nice to him. He's new,
It's
chat.
his first live stream. He'll do things because you guys are peer pressuring him. Yeah. That's not fair.
I feel like we're on like the Great White North.
They can't hear you.
He did it, Reddit.
There we go. No, say it. What were you gonna say?
The Great White North, you know, Steve Kaczynski, you know, from SNL way back when.
Oh, okay.
Because they were Canadians, eh?
Ah, okay.
Hosers.
There it is. Oh, dude, turn around. Go. Pretend you're shooting at the. I would always blow up the barrel that was in the back of the. Not that one.
That one.
Still has old Z1 barrels.
Z1 barrels.
I would blow up the one that was in the pickup truck across the way because people had never really shot that one, and then all of a sudden
you're
they'd be
back.
like, "What the?" You're back. God, those things were so OP.
Oh, the instant death barrels?
No, it was in the other back of it. Nope, you can't even see it from here. It's on the other side of that trailer. But yeah, this was the spot. So you can see it has the gray boxed cabins in the same spot. We haven't really touched any of the other stuff yet.
Are
so
smaller actor items like the trailers being touched at all?
Yeah, they are. They'll probably get replaced with a better trailer.
I want to say
it already did. Yeah, I was going to say it already did. We already replaced it with the Z2 trailer. That's why I was like saying that. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
So yeah, and the cars will probably get replaced and retextured so it doesn't look so, you know. But yeah, we're going to do a lot of the so that's actually a good point. A lot of the stuff that you see is the gray box buildings, so we're switching out a lot of the big structures, but there's also a lot of new props that are coming in that'll make the, world feel a little more, alive, little updated textures of props, and there's many props for sure.
People are asking also about the berry bushes.
So I don't have any
harvestable berries.
Yeah, I don't have any information on blackberry bushes just yet, just because we're still talking about it. And I don't want to say anything because I don't want to get caught saying something that might not happen. So
That is
no information yet.
Wise.
Like being able to play this on the test server.
Yeah.
Eventually. I didn't give any kind of timeline.
I will say that the blackberry bushes were for survival, to harvest blackberries so you could eat to survive.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a battle royale thing, but I understand that there's nostalgia there with the blackberry
Popping
bushes
2 health.
that people want to hide in them.
There were 2 health, right? Yeah.
So we'll see what goes down with that. And remember, we're trying to make this collaboratively with the world team. It would be no fun if I just came in as like a dictator and said, no, we're doing this and this and this and this, and you guys get to have no fun. So I talk with a level design lead, I talk with an art lead, I talk with an art director, and we all talk about things that are best for the game and for the map. If I just came in and told everybody what to do, nobody would like me, and that's no fun either. So you get what you want, but it's not really great environment to work in. I think you get better gameplay and design and art when you're more collaborative anyways. So that's why I don't want to answer the question about the blackberry bushes.
Sure. And we're also not talking about central servers on this stream as well. So,
yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah, I think that about does it for today's.
You guys got a good stream. This is a juicy piece of Z1 you guys got to see.
And we're gonna have more streams like this in the future, showing off different